We're seeing an all-out war of words between the centre and the opposition over what happened and what played out in the Rajya Sabha on August 11th. After the Modi government released a video of opposition MPs pulling and dragging marshals in the upper house, the Rajya Sabha has now swung into action. The Rajya Sabha in its report names TMC as well as Congress MPs, holding them responsible for ugly scenes inside the house. TMC MP Dola Sen has been accused of pushing and arguing with lady marshals. CPM MP Karim, who was charged with manhandling and also choking a male marshal when the security officer tried to control the situation. Now, Congress MPs Fulodevi Netam, Chaya Verma and Sena MP Priyanka Chaturvedi have been charged with tearing papers and throwing it at the chair. Rajya Sabha Chairman, Vice President Venkaiah Naidu met with the Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla to discuss all that played out at the ruckus in Parliament. Both the presiding officers decided to examine unruly behaviour at the House and take action in future. And Rajdeep Sardesai spoke with the Parliamentary Affairs Minister Pralhad Joshi on all that happened in Parliament, particularly the fact that there was barely any business that happened.
Joining me now is the country's Parliamentary Affairs Minister, Pralhad Joshi, the man in the hot spot. Mr. Joshi, appreciate your joining us. An entire parliamentary session virtually washed out. Who is going to take responsibility for what seems to be a complete breakdown between the government and the opposition? As Parliamentary Affairs Minister, doesn't the buck stop with you, sir?
No. What I can tell you, basically, they try to... It was their pre-decision. They pre-decided that this particular session should not run, it should be washed out. But in spite of all those things, we were under the compulsion to pass the bills, and we have passed around 22 bills which were in the interest of the people. That we have passed.
I'll come to the passage of bills in a moment, but the fact is I want to first focus on these almost unprecedented and terrifying images that we are showing on the screen at the moment that are dominating the headlines. The manner in which the Rajya Sabha yesterday saw pandemonium, the scenes that we have seen. As a taxpayer, sir, you know, Parliament costs 2.5 lakhs a minute. Makes me wonder, why do we have a Parliament? The government blames the opposition for manhandling a lady marshal. The opposition says its women MPs were manhandled. You say bills are passed, but it is these scenes, sir, that I want an explanation for. What explains what is happening, sir?
Rajdeep, can you believe people outside the parliament premises, they are not able to say anything, or they are not able to raise their hand on the MPs? Can you imagine where entire thing is recorded? Any ordinary employee, he is a class 3 or class 2 employee. Can you imagine that they do something to the MPs, that is to in the premises where they have privileges? Can you imagine this? And everything is recorded. If anybody investigates tomorrow, he knows, the employee will be knowing, and he will always be aware what is going to happen to them. Can you imagine this? And have you not seen the footage which has come out?
Sir, that's the footage.
It is not that government is blaming. It is.
No, sir. I have seen that footage. This footage is playing on air of what happened yesterday. The opposition is accusing the government of leaking the 2 to 3 minutes of footage selectively, not showing the entire footage of what happened yesterday. Let's be very clear, sir. Give us a clear explanation in your view what happened yesterday. Who is responsible?
No, it is entirely wrong. I can challenge this. It is entirely wrong to say. It is a false allegation. Whatever it has appeared in the whatever they have done, that can only appear. No, either it is male marshal or female marshal, they can dare to do anything to MP. You please try to understand. This is a democratic state, and that is true. When they have got so much privileges and everything is recorded, can you imagine this? See what they say, it cannot be, we cannot discuss on that because it's everything on, and what they did on 9th, table is for the writing or table is for the dancing in the Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. What they did when they tried to forcibly enter the chamber which was closed on 4th of August, See, don't try to jump the conclusion on the false allegation. Anybody can. I would like to complete. Anybody can come and see.
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead, Mr. Joshi.
Anybody can come and see entire footage. We don't have any objection. Let me make it very clear. And it is not will be in the control of either government. It will be under the control of either Speaker or Chairman of the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Let them understand that. And nobody can dare to do that.
So it's clear right now that face-off between the government and opposition is only escalating. Visuals of the August 11th proceedings in the Rajya Sabha are now out. You saw a clip of that, and the footage shows opposition MPs jostling with marshals. While the opposition claims that they were manhandled, the government is accusing the opposition of assaulting these marshals. There is, at this point, clearly only one loser in this fight: the Indian democracy and us, the voters.
Rajya Sabha turns into a battle zone. The passage of a hotly contested bill that allows the government to sell its stake in general insurance companies triggers a full-fledged face-off. The opposition MPs rushed to the well, demanding that the bill be sent to the select committee, even as marshals form a shield cordoning them off.
Subject to correction, ayes 187, noes nil.
While the bill is passed amidst the din, what happened on Wednesday has brought shame to India's temple of democracy. In videos released by official sources, on Thursday, opposition MPs can be seen jostling a woman marshal. The opposition alleges the marshal called in by the speaker manhandled them. The battle that began inside Parliament is now being fought outside. First, the opposition MPs turned out in big numbers to stage protests.
Honorable Minister for Information and Broadcasting and Youth.
Then the government fielded 7 ministers to counter the opposition charges. The two sides also met the Rajya Sabha chairperson Venkaiah Naidu separately to raise their concerns about what happened in the House.
इतना फोर्स तो मैंने कभी मार्शल का देखा नहीं है और वो पहले से मौजूद थे, तो इसका मतलब ये है कि आप बोलने ही नहीं दोगे और पहले से फोर्स इन द अपर हाउस, राज्यसभा में फोर्स लाने की कहाँ जरूरत है? तो डिबेट और डिस्कशन का विषय है, तो इतना सारा फोर्स मैंने भी आज तक कभी नहीं देखा.
दिस इज अ क्लियर साइन कि विपक्ष इज ट्राइंग टू प्रीएम्प्ट एनी एक्शन बिकॉज ऑफ देयर मिसकंडक्ट, अनरूली बिहेवियर and the threatening approach of the opposition. It was a shameful disgrace in the parliamentary history of India.
The MPs in the eye of the storm, Chaya Verma, who is accused of assaulting the woman marshal, is crying victim.
पूरे भारत के इतिहास में आप देखेंगे कि ऐसा सदन कभी नहीं चला होगा. पूरी एक तरह से उनकी पूरी मनमानी चल रही है, पूरे डेमोक्रेसी का मर्डर हो रहा है. जिस बात को सदन के अंदर रखना चाहते हैं उनको रखने नहीं दिया जा रहा है और अपने हिसाब से वो सदन चलाना चाहते हैं.
The unprecedented scenes in Rajya Sabha were a culmination of a fiery monsoon session that saw nearly zero debate on key issues like price rise, farm laws and Pegasus hacking scandal. This even as many bills were rushed through.
There has been no parliament session because the voice of 60% of this country has been crushed, humiliated, and yesterday in the Rajya Sabha physically beaten. This is nothing short of the murder of the democracy of this country.
उन्होंने क्या क्या किया, उन पार्टी ने क्या किया, लोकसभा में, राज्यसभा में कैसे उनका व्यवहार था, ये सब देश देख रही है. I demand, if they have little sense of responsibility and democracy, they should apologize to the country.
The opposition leaders marched for about a mile. The distance may have been short, but it managed to make just the right noise and rattle the government. The long march, though, towards 2024 is going to be a tough one, as the road ahead is bumpier for the opposition. With camera person Sanjay Kumar, this is Anand Patel for India Today.
Moving on, in view of emerging new threats and also the changing security scenario in Jammu, 13 CRPF's counter-terrorism tactical teams have been deployed in the region. These teams have been trained for conducting counter-insurgency operations. Kamaljit Sandhu gets you this ground report.
Drones, underground tunnels, cross-border infiltration. The threat to India's borders are endless. But with loaded armory and watchful eyes, the CRPF's Special Counter-Terrorism Tactical Teams, or CTTs, are ready to guard the country ahead of India's Independence Day. 13 CTT teams are available in the operations units deployed in the Jammu region. They are placed with Special Operations Group of the Jammu Kashmir Police for deployment in any emergency situation.
Now, with the threat of drones as well as threat of the IEDs, they are going into uncharted territories and off-beaten paths. We are near the Ban Toll Plaza area, and this is where positions are now being taken, and areas like this one are being chosen as far as... Now you see these are positions being taken. This is part of the practice and training which is happening right here ahead of August 15, the Independence Day.
The stakes are high ahead of Independence Day. The CTT teams say they are up to the challenge.
जो सीटीटी हमारी काउंटर टेररिज्म टीम है वो एसओजी के साथ मिलकर इंट बेस ऑपरेशन करती है।
15 अगस्त के पास जिस तरह से इंटेलिजेंस आ रही है, आईडी की आ रही है, बाकी चीजों की आ रही है, उसको किस तरह से कर रहे हैं?
तो उसके लिए हमने अपनी फोर्स को हाई अलर्ट पे रखा हुआ है, हमने अपनी गश्त को बढ़ाया, पेट्रोलिंग बढ़ाई।
The team has increased search operations, set up mobile checkposts and started security checks on roads.
15 अगस्त को लेते हुए तो इसके लिए हमने स्पेशल जो हमारा कंपोनेंट है सीटीटी कंपोनेंट वो 24/7 अलर्ट रहता है और वेल इक्विप्ड है, वेल ट्रेन है, कमांडो ट्रेनिंग इनको दी गई है। अपने इंस्टीट्यूशन जो सीआरपीएफ की इंस्टीट्यूशन है वहां से भी ये ट्रेन होकर आए हैं, साथ में एनएसजी से और फोर्स 1 से ये ट्रेन होकर आए हैं।
The counter-terror tactical teams are specifically trained for intelligence-based operations and are capable of clinical strikes.
From 2011 till up to recently, terror recruits went into Pakistan for arms training and then infiltrated back to India. Several of these terrorists have now been killed in counter-terror operations. What is also significant is that the government has been trying to tighten the noose, especially on stone pelters and anti-national. But these are always newer tricks around the corner for which the government agencies have to watch out for. With camera person Kirpal Singh, this is Kamaljit Sandhu in Udhampur and Jammu for India Today.
Days to go for Independence Day, and across the nation, various events are being held to commemorate Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh will virtually launch a slew of events that includes the unfurling of the national flag at various important locations. The Border Roads Association has sent 75 teams at 75 important passes where they will unfurl the tricolour. From the Umlingla Pass, this is the world's highest motorable road in Ladakh, to Dhola Sadia Bridge in the northeast. Not only that, other events include the cleaning of statues and Jan Sampark Abhiyan for veterans. Let's now get you a ground report from Uttar Pradesh. The Ganga River has crossed the danger level mark for the first time in 8 years. And the Prime Minister's Lok Sabha constituency of Varanasi is badly affected because of this rise in water levels. Hundreds of people living in low-lying areas are struggling right now. We get you this report.
What once were roads now have turned into streams. Crop completely damaged. Villages marooned. This is Prime Minister Narendra Modi's constituency of Varanasi. The Ganga is flowing above the 72-meter danger mark, the first time in 8 years. As a result, low-lying areas of Varanasi are completely cut off.
We are right now here at Ramna Banpurva village, where you can see the condition is this, that the water is flooded over the fields, farm, houses, and full village, if you can see, looks like submerged under the water. The people are bound to migrate from this place and going to a safer place through these boats.
Many were forced to evacuate with the little belongings they managed to save.
मकान की तो सारा मकान डूब गया है, छत के ऊपर मतलब हम लोग मड़ई लगाए हुए थे और सामान सब काफी बह गया है। कल ऐसे फिर घर के सजाओ टूटता है, बह जाता है। गरीब आदमी को मुसीबत तो होगा।
What's distressing is that these villagers claim they have got no help whatsoever from the authorities.
चूल्हा मूल्हा कुल भीज गल बा, गैस न रहता खाना भी न मर जाता नदमी। हाँ
ये बताइए, हर बार ये स्थिति होती है आपकी?
हाँ, हर बार खेती बाड़ी सब कुछ नुकसान हो गया। यहाँ तक कि घर में भी पानी चला जा रहा है, सब कुछ भी खत्म हो जा रहा है। बहुत परेशानी है हम लोग को। देखिए हम लोग आ रहे हैं, रोज जा रहे हैं, इतने पानी में डरा नहीं रहे कि हम लोग को जान जाएगा कि नहीं जाएगा।
And they are not alone. A local priest even alleges that no relief material has been provided to them in these testing times.
यहाँ एक समस्या है, सरकार जो विधायक हैं उनका यही एक समस्या है, बस वो आ नहीं रहे निरीक्षण करने के लिए। 1 घंटा पहले ही एनडीआरएफ वाली टीम आए थे, निरीक्षण करके फिर उसके बाद चले गए। राहत सामग्री इधर वितरण नहीं हो रहा है सरकार के माध्यम से।
Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath visited flood-hit areas of Varanasi to distribute relief materials to the affected.
These people are hopeless of the fact whether, how and when they will be able to get back to their houses, because most of them were living in such a condition which is not a permanent house. They will again have to start their life because this flood has not only taken their livelihood but also taken their home, and now a new journey for them in order to relocate and to make themselves again fit into that particular premises and residential area where they were belonging earlier. In Varanasi with cameraman Harish Kandpal, Abhishek Mishra for India Today.
India's batsmen put on a superb show on day one of the second test against England at Lord's. Both the openers, Rohit Sharma and KL Rahul, were on song as they put together a 126-run partnership. India's first 100-run opening stand overseas in the past decade. Rohit Sharma was the aggressor earlier on as he kept the scoreboard ticking even when the conditions were difficult for batting. Rohit scored a fantastic 84 before getting castled by James Anderson. India's number 3 Cheteshwar Pujara didn't hang around for long, edging Anderson's outswinger to Bairstow in the slips. KL Rahul, however, who's playing second fiddle till then, took it upon himself to take the game to the hosts. He scored a brilliant 100 and kept piling on the pressure on England with Virat Kohli for company. However, Captain Kohli fell to the new ball right towards the end as the visitors finished the day at 276 for 3.
Great class of great pedigree.